Welcome to the Be Stellar Podcast, Episode 1.
Welcome everybody, how you all doing?
I'm David Wyrick. This is
Aleks Ostojic, and we are entrepreneurs. David, you want to tell them a little bit what Be Stellar stands for?
So Be Stellar means to reach for the stars, to bring your life as high as you can get it, never quitting, even when you feel like it, and just doing the best that you absolutely can every single day.
I agree, man. That's what we're going to talk to you guys about. But we're not entrepreneurs. They already made it. We're entrepreneurs going through it. So what we're going to do for you guys, we're going to bring you daily struggles, weekly struggles, everything that we go through in our businesses. I have 2 businesses. David, you have 2 businesses as well. You want to tell us a little bit about it?
So I have 2 businesses. I own a construction company, and I also work with a financial firm.
Okay, same here. We're in business together through the financial firm, and I also own a t-shirt business on the side. Okay, and so we're going to just kind of bring you guys our daily struggles, what we deal with. So David, what got you into business in the first place? What made you decide to go from regular employee to a business owner?
So for me, I went to the University of Arkansas for a year when I graduated high school. And I was going to move up to where we are now, Joplin, Missouri, and go to Missouri Southern. Some things didn't work out. Maybe we'll get into that story one of these days. Ended up having to take a construction job. And I had never done construction before, so I didn't even know how to read a tape measure at 19 years old. Let's just be honest. Which is an important skill in life. If you don't know how to read a tape measure, please learn. So I got into roofing at 19. Got married at 21. Back then, times were pretty hard, man. I roofed for $8 to $10 an hour. Started at 8, moved up to $10 an hour. You're talking like 15 years ago now. And it didn't pay the bills for having a wife and a kid, so I had to have a factory job at night. And working a factory job showed me that I did not want to work in a factory. Nothing against people that do. By all means, you're tough if you can go to the same place every day and do the same exact thing every single day. That takes some mental toughness just to be able to do that. I can't do it.
I agree.
I enjoy going, even though I might do the same thing, I enjoy going to somewhere different every day to have a new adventure, a new challenge, a new problem to be solved. That's what being an entrepreneur is
that's a lot of problem solving.
Problem solving. Looking at a problem and going, you know what, I'm not going to give up on this problem and walk away. I'm going to figure this out. But it showed me that that's not really what I wanted to do with my life, man. Going and working 12 hours for $7.35 an hour. You know what I mean? That's
crazy that only 15 years ago, or 20 years ago, that's what was regular pay. Right now they're talking minimum wage, $15, $20, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I remember working at McDonald's for $5.15 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
That was my first job. And that's crazy because you put in, part-time 30 hours a week and you get like $150. They take taxes out of that. What do you really have?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of crazy. But, some people just choose to do that. And there's nothing wrong with choosing to do that.
Yeah.
It's just, we're not here to talk to you guys about having a job. We're here talking to you about the journey from an employee to an entrepreneur. Okay, so go ahead. Continue.
My first job was when I was 14. I made $5.35 an hour. I worked for our landlord, and he taught me how to weld. We worked on dozer tracks. Don't ask me to do that now because I've forgotten it in 20 years. But so that kind of showed me I enjoy being an independent contractor, being self-employed. I enjoy the freedom of it. There's freedom in it, and then there's not freedom in it. Because if you are an entrepreneur, if you are self-employed to a certain extent until you hit necessarily business owner, you work 7 days a week. I mean, even when you're at home, even when you're on vacation with your family, in your mind, you're still working. In your mind, you're still okay, what do I need to do next? So there is a transition period and I'm in it right now, of trying to, there is no not working. There's times that I relax, but even in those moments where I'm relaxing, I'm still okay, how am I going to make that next dollar? what's the next move I need to make? How long before that next check comes in? Um, so anyways, to get there though, me and my brother-in-law started a construction company in 2014, of our own. And then he moved to Kansas City, started his own business. He's an entrepreneur as well. Um, and so just kind of from there, I've just never really fallen back into having a job. I mean, I've been offered to go work for people for good amounts of money. And man, I just don't want to work for somebody else.
What's a good amount of money for you?
$100,000 a year. I've been offered $100,000 a year to go work for somebody else.
Because everybody has a different definition of good money. I talk to some people and they think $25,000 a year is good money.
That's not enough, man. Like, I'm not a greedy person by any means, but like, I'm content with what I have, but I also have ambition to be more, if that makes sense. Like, I never want to be stagnant, because if you're stagnant, you're going backwards, whether you like it or not. I never want to be stagnant. I never want to just stop and be like, okay, that's enough. I'm not greedy. I don't need 14 cars. I don't need 2 of each high-end brand of car. I don't need a giant house. I don't need any of that stuff. But I want my family to be well off. Like I told my wife, to be an entrepreneur, here's where I want to be at is I want to tell my kids no because I want to tell them no, not because daddy can't afford it. You know what I mean? Because when I was a kid, there were times in my life where we couldn't afford it. There's times now where I can't afford it. I'll be honest, but I want to be, at the point where I want to say no, not because I don't have the money, but just for the simple fact I want to teach my kids a lesson that they need to work for something, in order to earn it, not just give them everything. But I want to say no because I have the choice to say no, not because I don't have the money to say no. You know what I mean?
Makes sense.
So then, I met you, started a financial business, which I love. There's so much value in understanding your financial situation. It'll really open your eyes to extra spending. And sometimes I have to go back to that and go, okay, I'm spending too much here. But I want to teach people about that as well. And so my journey to an entrepreneur was, just 19 years old, being self-employed, not really knowing what that entailed. 1099 independent contractor. I worked for somebody, but technically I was an independent contractor. I didn't understand that I didn't have to work for them, because no one told me. It's all been a figuring out on my own kind of thing.
Yep.
That's kind of how I got into business, though. That's how I started a construction company. That's why I still have one. I enjoy the act of construction. Man, you can't find people to work these days. It seems like everybody that I know in the construction world we're steady looking for people to work, because people just don't. The trades have just seemed to have fallen off. Nobody wants to get down and dirty with their hands anymore. They want to sit behind a computer, when that's fine. I'm not saying there's a place for that, but there's going to be a point where there's too many people sitting behind a computer and not enough people building and not enough people in a trade. And people are going to be like, why is it so expensive? Because there's nobody else to do it.
Well, it's already happening. It's this notion of everybody going to college, sitting behind a computer, making a lot of money. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of people out there with college degrees that can't find a job, because they get a college degree without actually thinking about what they want to do. They just get it because somebody told them to. And unfortunately, that's the realm that I fell into. I've been working since I was 16. I came to the States when I was 15. I started working, my first job was McDonald's, okay? I'd actually say a lot of entrepreneurs started working at McDonald's as their first job. I got fired after 3 months because they put me on the register. I didn't speak any English, right? So I put in wrong orders. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And they fired me. And then I went from restaurant to a restaurant. Then I wanted to be a mechanic. I got into this little group of people where we were gearheads, just fixing cars. Every dollar we made, we dumped into cars,
Yeah.
Putting different chromies on the wheels.
Sure.
Right? Cutting exhausts off, doing stupid stuff, right, as kids. And then I went to school for a mechanic, graduated top 5% of my class, got an internship, started working for a guy, didn't want to give me a raise, didn't want to give me a position he hired me for. So I'm like, all right. So I quit. He got mad. I went to work for steel mills, right? Same thing, 2008, stock market crashed, everything closed down, the housing market crashed. And then I decided to go into the Marines, right? In the Marines for 10 years, I was just like, I woke up one day and I was like, I'm just part of the system. Like, I'm not doing anything for myself. I'm not doing anything for my family. All my time I'm putting into somebody else's dream, somebody else's business, somebody else's organization.
Right.
Like Marine Corps, it's our country's organization. We need it, right? We go out, fight and win wars for the United States of America. That's great. But at the end of the day, like, what was I going to get after 20 years? A retirement? A paycheck for life? Like, is that really what I wanted out of my life? So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go into entrepreneur route, right? That's how I started. 2.5 years, 3 years ago, actually, now. And man, I wouldn't trade it for the world. And it sucks on some days, and you know how it is.
It is, yeah.
You make like 10, 15, 20 phone calls, nobody picks up. You make 5 appointments, everybody cancels. You train 5 agents, they all quit, right? You can't find workers.
Yeah.
Okay, because I tried when I lived in Las Vegas. I hired a guy for my T-shirt business. He showed up when he wanted to.
Yeah.
I don't feel like working today. Just call me and say, oh man, I'm okay. I'll just come back tomorrow. I had a small mobile mechanic business and I couldn't find workers. This is when 2020 hit and COVID. Government was giving out all this money, so why work for $15 an hour, or $10 an hour when you can just sit at home and make like 10 grand a month or 8 grand a month, whatever government was giving out. So it's freaking crazy, man. So the challenges of entrepreneur. So the question for you, man. So if you had to do it all over again, what would you do? Would you stick with your job, or would you do it all over again, or would you do it differently?
Do I know what I know now?
Let's say some of it.
I would still be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Yeah. I enjoy, like I said, I enjoy the freedom of choosing my battle of, hey, this is what I'm going to do, versus somebody going, hey, go do that. And then they make most of the money from it. Like, I want to be the guy making the money.
It's crazy. We always look for agents, right, for financial services. And number one thing, when they come into the business, they expect it to be a job.
Yeah.
Right. They expect us to give them tasks. And that's how we've been trained. That's how the school trained us. I go to school for a master's degree right now. They don't teach me how to run a business. They don't teach me how to start a business. They teach me literally how to get orders from somebody and pass it down to my workers.
Yeah.
Like the middle management stuff.
Well, they don't teach anything in school that has to do with real life. I mean, they do to a certain extent, but they don't teach you like how to do taxes, which everyone has to do taxes.
Yes.
And if you're an employee, then you just take your W-2 to H&R Block or Liberty Tax or whoever, and say, hey, here's this, do my taxes, thank you. But if you're self-employed, like, it's a whole different ballgame between your deductions and everything. But they don't teach that in school, but here's the thing about being an entrepreneur, and this is actually the title of this episode, is if you want to be an entrepreneur, just start. Yeah. Just like you did, just like I did. We actually listened to a lady last night, and she was talking about her and her daughter starting a business, and she was at a networking meeting, and she asked, well, we're going to start a boutique online, and she was talking to people that are already in that business, and they're like, well, what are you waiting on? And she was like, and she was like, I don't know. And that's the whole thing. If you want to be an entrepreneur, you don't have to run out and just quit everything you're doing. Just start. Figure out a place to just start.
Yeah. Kind of pick like the route you want to go in, the business you want to go in. If you're working 40 hours a week for your regular job, that's great. Keep working that job. But you got to think about it. There's 168 hours in a week. So if you're working 40 hours, that means it's only a quarter of your time.
Yeah.
So what are you doing with the other, 128 hours a week, right? Why not work another extra 20, extra 30?
Yeah.
Start a business on the side, like our financial services business. We take agents part-time, and they always come into the business.
I'm part-time.
Yeah, he's part-time right now. He owns a construction business full-time. He does this part-time. And then we decided to launch this podcast. Why did we decide this?
Because we have time. And we see the value of so many people that want to be entrepreneurs and they don't know how. They just start. You know, we see all these great people, and kudos to them, all of them, that you can find on YouTube and TikTok and all of these social media sites, Insta, and they're there. They make millions, and they talk about their stories of when they were 20, when they were 30, being homeless, coming out of rehab, people telling them that they'll never be anything, and they're already there. So the difference, I hope, in this podcast is we're going through it right now. We're trying to make it to that point. So maybe by the time, you know, in 10 years, when I am a millionaire, you guys could have followed our journey to being there versus us being there going, this is what we did. Instead, you can say, this is what we do.
Yeah, this is what we're doing. We're going to try launch this like, what, 2 or 3 episodes a month.
Yeah.
We're kind of going to go over, we're going to bring some different entrepreneurs,
from our local
owners.
area.
Yeah, from the local area right here from Joplin, Missouri, or from anywhere in the country if they're willing to fly in. But as we pick up, you know, audience and stuff like that, we really want to give everybody a chance to present their business, present their ideas.
And figure out how they got into business and what struggles they have, because we have struggles.
Everybody does.
But, you know, that's for another episode. Today is start. If you're listening to this podcast, if you have a dream, if you have an ambition, if there's something you're passionate about, don't waste your life doing something that you hate. If you're happy with just going to work every day and you love your job, hey, go to your job every day. That's awesome. But if you're like, hey, I want to start an online store, I want to start a trade business, I want to do something, just do it. Do it part-time. Carve out a day a week, half a day a week, a couple hours a night to just start something. It's going to take some time. We talk about delayed gratification.
Yes.
It's going to take some time. Starting a business isn't something that just... I talked to a guy the other day. He wanted to know about passive income. And I told him, like, passive income doesn't fall out of the sky.
Yeah. You got to build it over
You
time.
have to build it. It's not something that just jumps in your lap. If any of you out there listening know of a way that passive income just jumps in your lap,
let us
just
know.
please let me know, because I would love to just have somebody hand me money for free.
Yeah, and everything starts with a thought. Like, I don't believe that thoughts just come to us because they just come to us. I believe that they're planted in by God, right? Maybe God wants you to be on a different path.
Yeah.
So if a thought comes into your head, hey, maybe I should start an Amazon online store, right? Why not just, instead of saying, oh, I can't do that, why not say, what if I could pull this off? Like, I was listening to David Goggins. I listen to him a lot. And one of the things he says, what if I could pull this off? What if? Like, ask yourself that question. Do the research. How do you start it? Where do you begin? How do you find product? How do you sell product? How do you put it up online? Like, everything that you need to do about it, look it up and then see if you can do it. So work your regular job and then just start something on the side. Because I don't believe the thoughts just come to us for no reason, right? Every thought that enters our mind comes there for a reason. So maybe you're meant to do something better, something greater.
Something more. Yeah.
Maybe you're meant to leave a legacy for your family. You know, everything I do for my kids. I don't do it for me.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm going to enjoy the rewards of it, but I'm also going to enjoy the hard work I'm going to put into it.
100%.
Right? So, you know, it's okay to go work 30, 40 years for a company, retire. But what are you leaving to your kids? Like, my kids, I want to leave them businesses. I want to leave them assets, buildings. I want to leave them things that is going to put them on a different level so they have a better opportunity in this country than what I did when I came. You know, I come from nothing, right? Civil wars, refugee camps, coming here broke, in debt, right? We had to pay for the airline tickets. U.S. government gave us a loan that we had to pay back with interest to fly into the United States, right?
Okay.
So we came into the United States with debt. You know, I'm not some type of crazy success figure right now, but I'm on my way. It's a journey. It's a commitment, a dedication to success. Like, what are you willing to do? Just never quit. You know, start, never quit, get dedicated, come up with an idea, change ideas, adjust fire, what we call it in the Marine Corps.
And that's the thing is, you don't have to quit. You might have to change the course of action.
Yeah, that's not quitting.
That's not quitting. That's saying, okay, what I'm doing isn't working. I'm going to move to a different idea. Moving to a different thought process is not quitting.
And it just might not be working at the moment because maybe mentally you're not ready.
Right.
Right. Let me give you an example. I got out of the Marines. I started a t-shirt business. Right. COVID hit. The t-shirt business went under. I started doing different things. I had 2 t-shirt businesses. Then I started doing mechanics. Then I started doing financial services. And now I'm mentally grown over the past 2.5 years to the point where I'm relaunching my t-shirt business on a different scale, on a different level, right? Maybe at that time I wasn't mentally ready to do that business,
Yeah.
but now I am, right? So just because something fails, something doesn't go your way, it's supposed to, like, you're supposed to go through those struggles to figure out the way that does work.
Yeah. I mean,
That's
and
how I
that's,
look at it.
well, and that's the whole thing is, you know, I could stay in construction my whole life if I wanted, but I don't want to. I love building, but it's not something I want to do for the rest of my life. I mean, I'm 34, dude, and I wake up, my hip hurts, my shoulder hurts, I'm sore, and I'm 34. Like, some of that's from years of roofing, you know, from bending over, roofing houses, tearing off, doing all that stuff. It hurts. I don't want to hurt the rest of my life. I want to use my brain for something other than building. I enjoy building. I'll probably always build, but I want to build because I want to, not because I have to. You know, and that's why I started in the financial services world. Because I was also woke up at 30 and was like, I don't have anything for retirement. I don't even know what to do for it. And then I met you and you showed me some things that I can do for retirement. And I was like, oh, there's value in this. And then a couple of months later, you were like, hey, is this something you want to do? And you'd already asked me. And finally I was like, let's give it a shot. I just started.
Yeah, and now you're doing great, actually.
And I like it a lot. I really do. I enjoy it. I do it part-time, and I make my family extra money every month. And I love it. I love the fact that I get to do that. Because every day that I go to work is for my family. It may not always seem like it, but that's what I do. I wake up and I go to work so my family can eat. They have a place to live, with gas in the tank. Especially, you know, gas prices are going down, but they ain't down that much. We have the ability to make them go way down. We just don't. That's a whole nother issue.
That's a whole another podcast. That's a whole another episode. We can talk. That's probably going to be the longest one we're ever going to publish. Okay. But yeah, man. So great. So you're going to stick on the entrepreneur route?
I am.
You're going to
always
keep pushing through.
Yeah.
And we're doing it together. Okay.
Yeah. Find yourself a running partner. Find somebody that you can trust, that you enjoy having conversation, that motivates you, that makes you level up. You know what I mean? That makes you want to level up, that when you're having an off day,
gotta challenge each other.
They'll look at you and say, hey, buddy, like, pick yourself up by your bootstraps.
Get your butt up.
It's just a day. You know, like, you're going to be fine. Because, dude, there's days I want to quit, straight up. There's days I want to quit life. Not like die, but just, I don't want an adult anymore.
Just want to curl up in the bed.
I just want to, like, I just want to, like, shut the door, turn off the lights, and just, like, be gone from the world for a day. Just like, hey, like, just everyone leave me alone. You know, but I don't have that. I don't have a luxury for that.
But every day you do that, you just set yourself back another day.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really, and I believe in compound effect of things, right? The more you work, I believe the progress will just compound on top of one another, right? And every time you take a day off, you slow that compound effect.
Yeah.
Imagine, like, you have money invested somewhere and you were getting interest on your money only, I don't know, 200 days out of the year, right? Because the other 165 days, they didn't give you any interest, right? How is the compound effect going to work? Same thing with your work, right?
Yeah.
If you take 165 days off or something like that and you work only 200, it slows down the progress.
Yeah. And you might, you won't see the effects of everything you're doing. It's like going to the gym. Anybody who understands going on a diet or going to the gym or even getting fat, it doesn't just happen overnight. You know, it's just when you get fat, I've been heavier than I am now. Literally one day you wake up and you go to put on your clothes and you're going, these are a little bit tight.
Nothing fits.
Nothing fits. And that happened over months of eating crap. And then whenever you're purposely trying to eat right and lose weight, you expect, like, you go to the gym one day and you come home and you're like, man, I feel great. I'm going to go try on those 34s, and they still don't fit.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? So you can either quit,
you can keep going,
or you can keep going and eventually fit back into them. You know, and that's the same thing. That's a motto for life, is the negative things that happen, they will continue to happen unless you purposely say, no, I'm no longer going to allow myself to move in that direction. I'm going to start moving in the other direction. And it'll seem like it takes longer because you're paying attention. You're paying attention to
Yes.
what's happening. You're trying to see the positive effects.
You're being intentional about your
Right.
stuff. Yeah.
But understand it's going to take months, years to see the results versus it took 9 months to get fat. You just were enjoying it because, let's face it, the food that makes you fat is good. It tastes good.
Like Wendy's and
Zebra cakes,
Doritos,
bro. Zebra
oh,
cakes
man.
for sure.
Oh man,
I have to
zebra
just
cakes.
pass them in the aisle and close my eyes and say, no, I love them.
Yeah.
I haven't had one in a long time.
Good, man, good. Well, I mean, you lost a lot of weight since you came into the business with me, because he had a bunch of suits, and I was like, hey man, we gotta wear suits. Like, let's just wear suits, look nice. And he goes, dude, I don't fit in any of my suits. I'm like, let that be your motivation. So what did you do?
I lost like 50 pounds.
50 pounds in the last, like, what, 8 months since you were in
Yeah,
business with me?
yeah, I did it the right way. You know,
Good.
five or 6 pounds a month,
Good,
5 to
man.
10 pounds a month. But, and then probably in the last month, I went backwards a little bit. I stopped paying attention to what I was eating and then realized it and was like, oh, you better tighten up a little bit. Otherwise, it's going to tighten up on you.
Is that why I didn't wear a suit last 2 weeks?
I just wanted to be more comfortable. You're not wearing a suit? Chill out. His coat's over there. He did wear a suit.
Yeah, so David, out of all of this, okay, so first thing we would say, to become an entrepreneur, to take the route, you just gotta start.
Just start.
Okay, and what would you say other 2 things are for you? Like, let's say top 3 things. First one is start. What are the other 2 things that you would implement to kind of keep it going?
Just start. You know, something I do, one of my main things, like on Facebook, is I have a lot of motivational stuff. I save that stuff in my phone. Because there are times, you know, and kudos to those people that put that stuff on there every day. I save that stuff to my phone. And on days when I'm feeling like, oh man, this is hard, I go and remind myself, set reminders for yourself that you have been here before and you've come out of it. You're not dead. It will get better. So set reminders to motivate you. Find some inspiration. Find some motivation. Put sticky notes all over your house if you have to. And just say, don't give up. I mean, just something to motivate you and to keep you going. That would probably be number 2.
So don't give up.
Don't give up. Well, I mean, just motivate. You know, find purpose. Life is nothing without purpose. Find purpose in your life. I mean, those kind of maybe wrap together, but that's probably my don't get like, so just start, find purpose, and then don't give up. Motivate yourself. Don't give up. Like, regardless of what happens, don't quit because it will get better. You know, that's like in the financial business. You know, we may go a month without appointments and then we have one appointment that's just awesome. But if we would have quit in that month that it didn't go, we never would have found that person.
That's it.
Or that person would have called and would have been like, oh, I don't do that anymore. And then we just missed out on a big opportunity. And that's with everything. Don't quit. Don't quit. You talk to anybody that's like a YouTube star, they'll say, man, I put out 3 years of videos before I really got any subscribers.
Well, Joe Rogan, did you hear his story about his podcast?
Yeah.
He started in like 2008. He didn't get any traction really till like 2017 or 18.
Yeah, he only makes like $30 million a year off his podcast. So
Well,
that's only $84,000 a day.
That's not bad. That's like $1 a second. It's
Oh
like,
gosh.
yeah, what is it, 8,600 seconds a day or something like that?
Yeah. Yeah, it might be that's
Yeah.
crazy though.
That is crazy.
But just start. That's the thing. That's the thing about Be Stellar. You know, we're going to have some apparel come out. We're going to do some things. Be stellar, though. Be stellar in your life. Like, just keep reaching higher than the day before. Just keep reaching higher.
Yeah, I'd say take it day by day. Like Ed Milet says, there's don't quit one more day.
Yeah.
So my top 3 things would be start, make a decision, right, that you will never quit.
Yeah.
So that's start, make a decision, and never quit.
Yeah.
Like, it's that simple.
Mhm.
That's what I've been doing, and it works. And on the days where you're like, man, I don't feel like getting out of bed, I don't feel like leaving the house, the kids are crying, the house is a mess right? You're like, man, I need to stay here and help the wife, but we got to go out and do it, man. We got to go out and work. You got to record a podcast episode. You have to, write one more chapter in a book. You have to make social media posts. You have to go into a network marketing group and meet people, right? You have to, all of those things, and sometimes you don't feel like doing it, but hey, put on a smile on your face and just go do it, because it's better for you and your family in the long run. Because every day you don't do it, you just delay your, your success.
And learn to smile.
Learn to smile. I'm still working on that.
Learn to smile. Like, it really does. You can read scientific studies. It has an actual effect on your brain to just smile.
I'm sure.
And they say, they say laughter is the best medicine. Like positivity. Remove the negative from your life.
Yes.
Remove it. Like, and you start a business, you're going to have people that are really close to you. They're going to be very negative towards you. Remove the negative. You don't have to remove the person, but learn how to shut them down and just say, hey, listen, if you don't want to be part of it, that's fine, but don't crap on my dreams because you never had any.
Oh man, I've had people tell me, I started a financial services business, and literally, I had a t-shirt business number 1 failed, t-shirt business number 2 failed, mobile mechanic, it didn't fail, it was doing well, but I didn't want to be a mechanic and be dirty my whole life. I've done it for 17 years. I shut it down. I started a financial services business. I called my buddy. I'm like, hey man, I'm in training. I need help. I got to do some presentations with people, get trained up. He's like, what do you do now? I was like, I'm getting into financial services. You know what he told me? Oh, you're a financial guy now, huh? And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, nothing, man. I'm just saying you closed down 3 or 4 businesses. Like, how can I trust you that this is gonna? I'm like, dude, I just need help training. Like, if I know you for 15 years, why can't we sit down for an hour, do some training, get it knocked out, right? He didn't want to. So the same guy called me about 3 months ago. He's like, man, we need to sit down for an appointment. My 401k is losing in the market. So we did, and he became a client. But sometimes people will not believe in you right away because they know you as who you are right now, and because they cannot change, they believe that you can't change. So they want to see it first. Yeah. Most people are like, you got to see to believe it.
100%.
And, and entrepreneurs is completely opposite. You got to see it before it happens.
100%.
Like, you have to see the future. You have to have an imagination. You have to
believe in yourself.
Belief. You have to have belief that it's going to succeed one day, and whatever you're planning in your head is going to come out.
True belief requires action.
It does. You got to back it up with a lot of action.
You do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If not, you just sitting there wasting time and not working and not progressing.
But just start.
Just start.
Just start. Be stellar and just start.
That's the first. That's the first episode.
Tune in. We'll try to shoot another one next week after we release this one. Tell your friends about the podcast.
Yep.
It's going to continue to grow. We'll have a sign that'll say "Be Stellar" eventually. It's going to grow. Tell your friends. We're local, Southwest Missouri, Joplin. Going to have some great local entrepreneurs that we've already talked to come on the show eventually. We're going to have new content. Walk with us through our journey to being stellar, to never quitting, to always trying to be higher than what we are right now.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys. Thank you very much for tuning in.